Hello and welcome to the Cooking Log, the show where we explore the weird and wonderful foods that games have us create. As always, I'm Jared, and today from Final Fantasy Online, A Realm Reborn, Mutton Stew. As a starting point for mutton stew, we'll need 1 pound of mutton loin, although I've substituted lamb leg for this because of availability, enough flour to do a nice coating on the meat, 7 shallots, 1 green onion, since I don't have access to fresh onion right now, and 3 large carrots. We also need a supply of mineral water. Mineral water. If you read the in-game description, it's just about a beautiful, clear source and flavorful, but I always have a little bit of a hard time with just adding water to something when you can potentially add a bit more flavor other than water. So today's mineral water is brought to you by vegetable stock, and we're going to be making 2 liters. To make our 2 liters of vegetable stock, we're going to use standard mirepoix veg, 2 medium onions, 2 stalks of celery, and 2 carrots. I'm breaking down all of these ingredients into a medium dice, starting with the onion, moving on to the peeled carrots, and finally, the celery. I'm sautéing the vegetables before adding the water. Means I'm starting this pot on high. Little bit of oil in the pan. Little bit of salt. And after about 4 minutes of pushing that around, I'm adding in 2 liters of water. Now that the water's simmering, it's time to cover the pot, reduce the heat to low, and wait about 4 hours, at which point, drain it and use it. And here's the color of our finished stock. Mineral water. Going back to our stew, in terms of prep order, I'm starting with the vegetables first. Peeled the carrots, now I'm trimming the heads and tails and cutting them into large chunks. I want to leave the shallots in large pieces for the stew, so I'm just trimming heads and tails and cutting once down the middle. I'm also peeling the outer layer. You don't necessarily need to do this outside of that papery bit, but I'm just paranoid about getting leathery onion skin in my food. I don't like the texture. I'm slicing the green onion as a garnish, and it will be set aside until the end. The lamb is getting sliced into large stewing chunks. I usually slice things into lengths first, and then cross-cut into the desired final size. Because this is being cooked low and slow, I'm not actually worried about trimming any of the fat off of the leg. Now that I have my stewing chunks, I'm adding in salt, pepper, and the flour. Mixing it into the meat, and I'm trying to get a fairly even coating throughout. And now I think it's time to start cooking the stew. Oven is preheating to 250 Fahrenheit, and we're going to start by searing off our meat. For a good sear, that burner is set to high, and I'm adding oil to the pan. Now that it's hot enough, add in the meat. I'm trying to spread it out fairly evenly around the pan, but I'm going to try to not play with it too much since I want it to brown nicely. The Maillard reaction is a tasty reaction. Sear looks good, so I'm going to remove the lamb. Return the pan to the stove, and then deglaze it with some of the stock to get all of that flavor off of the bottom of the pan and into the final dish. Time to add in our carrots and onions, and I'm more or less resting the meat on top. Adding in enough stock to bring the liquid level to about the halfway point. And now it's basically as simple as putting the lid on the pan, popping it into the oven, and waiting 4 hours. Now that it's in the oven, 3.5, 4 hours is what the total cooking time is going to end up being. So we wait. Maybe log online and play something. After it's been removed from the oven, a little bit of extra salt and pepper to taste, and there you have it. Mutton stew based on the recipe. It looks like it is screaming out for potato, but that just might be the Ukrainian in me talking. Carrots are soft. Onion roasted and cooked through beautifully, and it's got a nice flavor to it. And our meat is absolutely delicious and falling apart. And this is now dinner. See you later.